Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on the 7th member of YSL to take a plea deal. And honestly, I'm not surprised that he's willing to testify because YSL has been snitching on him since 2015.
Defendant has been a member and or associate of YSL since 2012. Number 3, while associated with YSL and to support and express loyalty to YSL, defendant and co-defendant appeared in a video where defendant brandished a weapon used in a drive-by shooting.
December 28th, 2022, another defendant in Atlanta's YSL RICO case has taken a plea deal, making him the 7th to do so, and it seems he's been hit with the harshest punishment so far. 41-year-old Antonio Sledge pled guilty to violating Georgia's RICO Act, along with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. As part of his plea deal and everyone else's, he'll testify if asked, but while Gunner and others received short terms of probation, Sledge received 15 years for both charges to run concurrent, random drug tests, and a curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. After 10 years, if Sledge hasn't violated, the state is willing to terminate the remaining 5 years of his probation. Looking into Sledge's violent criminal history, we're able to somewhat understand why his punishment was worse than others. Back in 2011, it was the day after Christmas when police responded to Club Crucial in Bankhead. Shots were reportedly fired within the club, and as an officer pulled into the parking lot, he observed a man later identified as 29-year-old Sledge firing into a crowd of people. Sledge refused to comply with demands to drop the weapon and get on the ground, and instead ran before throwing the gun and being captured. A victim at the scene was located alive with a gunshot to the chest, and while Sledge was charged with shooting him, Sledge's lawyer would present a different story in court. Apparently, Sledge was with the victim, who was actually a friend of his when shots were fired in the club, causing them to rush outside. Gunfire erupted in the parking lot and the two men began running when Sledge's friend was shot. According to Sledge's lawyer, Sledge went back into the club and notified an Atlanta police officer who regularly worked there, who then called an ambulance. The charges for shooting his friend would be dropped, and Sledge would receive 24 months of probation for running from the police and resisting arrest. 4 years later, Sledge would go back to the same club, and 2 more shootings would soon follow. In April of 2015, Sledge and a man by the name of Demikion Garlington, who's been identified by the YSL indictment as Sxarfaxe, were both inside a Club Crucial. Sxarfaxe would be spotted by the rival Inglewood family Bloods, who proceeded to jump him inside of the club. The fight would make its way into the parking lot where gunfire was exchanged, and Sledge and Sxarfaxe would flee the scene when Sledge made the decision to call Quindarius Zachary, another member of YSL, as they planned to retaliate. 2 months later, Sxarfaxe would be arrested on an unrelated charge and agreed to speak with 3 detectives. When asked about what happened at the club, Sxarfaxe would admit he was jumped, and this is where a member of YSL turns to YSTEL. Sxarfaxe would tell investigators Sledge went and picked up Zachary before the 3 men drove to the home where Darren Mills lived. Darren Mills being one of the Inglewood family Bloods that jumped Sxarfaxe. Sxarfaxe would go on telling investigators Sledge drove while Zachary fired shots into the home. 3 women were inside at the time, and Darren's aunt would be woken after a bullet struck her in the ass. The house and car parked in the driveway would be shot multiple times, and an ambulance would arrive on scene transporting Darren's aunt to a hospital where it was determined she needed surgery. The 3 YSL members would then drive to Darren's brother's apartment where they would shoot up 3 different units, striking no one. Sxarfaxe would admit he was armed, but it was Zachary that did the actual shooting. When detectives contacted Zachary and interviewed him, he would also admit to what happened, but blamed Sxarfaxe for the shooting. So while the 2 shooters blamed each other, they both blamed Sledge for driving the vehicle. The 2 shooters would plead guilty, receiving a 10-year sentence in which they'd only have to serve 3 in prison, while Sledge would take an Alfred plea due to his co-defendant's statements against him, in which he was given 2 years in prison and 5 years probation. So essentially, Sxarfaxe was beat up in the club, Sledge took him to retaliate, and Sxarfaxe told on everyone, which resulted in Zachary telling on everyone, and all Sledge wanted to do was help another member of YSL get his get back. These shootings would be used to indict Sledge in the YSL RICO along with Sxarfaxe. And let's not forget, Sxarfaxe is also the one who told YSL's biggest snitch, Lil Woody, that they just killed Big Nut. And Sxarfaxe later spoke with detectives about the hit, saying he was with Young Thug when Thug spotted Big Nut outside of the barbershop before he was killed. Only 4 months ago, Sxarfaxe would respond to me exposing his paperwork, saying, yeah, I'm a rat, but I ain't gonna get touched. That's serious. With Sledge already being told on by members of YSL in the past, and YSL members expeditiously taking plea deals, it's no wonder Sledge is more than willing to testify, as he already knows how it goes. He essentially only needs to complete 10 years without violating, which he really shouldn't since he's already 41 years old. And if you haven't made it in the streets by 41, it's definitely time to retire. We'll just have to wait and see if he's called in to testify in the future. Now, simply going back to the cases that predate the RICO indictment will show everyone that there was no loyalty in this gang to begin with. And what's crazy about the entire situation is a lot of this snitching was being done in 2013, 14, 15, but the members stayed within the gang. It doesn't seem like any of them were exposed or there was any repercussion for telling on each other and telling on the Inglewood family Bloods. Meanwhile, the Inglewood family Bloods were actively exposing them. But YSL didn't want to hear it, didn't want to see it, and never spoke about it. Now for Antonio Sledge, who's 41 and a father of 8 kids, I mean, I don't know, you signed up for it, right? That's what everyone's supposed to tell everybody when they want to be gangster and they go to court. I've never heard, like I've said before, of probation in a RICO case. He either already said a whole lot or he's going to say a whole lot. And there really is no reason for him to have any more loyalty towards YSL. It would more so be his morals that would have kept him from snitching. But Sxarfaxe already told on him. Zachary already told on him. And this happened way back then. They flat out said, he was the shooter, no, he was the shooter, but he was the driver, and we agree on that. Now we're just gonna have to wait and see how everything plays out, who is actually gonna testify. But I mean, goddamn, the amount of them that's already snitched in the past, it isn't looking good. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. Till next time.